Hello there. Welcome to the channel. This is Vinod Narayan. Today, I want to introduce a book. But before I introduce the book, I want to talk a bit about reading. So we are coming to the end of 2021 and we're going to start 2022. So this year, I decided that I'll read about an hour to an hour and a half every day. And not every day that has been possible. Some days I've read more than an hour. And over this 1 year, I think I've probably been able to read about 25 to 26 books. And I usually do book reviews in my in a professional YouTube channel, which is Pen Positive, where I primarily talk about life and book. But there are many books that I read which are not necessarily professional in nature, and it is more related to society, related to personal development. And I thought maybe those are things that I should probably put in my personal video channel. And if you have subscribed to this channel, thank you. And if you have not subscribed, do subscribe. You would have seen that I do a different kind of videos over here. I've done conversations, I've done book reviews earlier. I think for quite some time I've not done any book reviews in this channel. And apparently over the past 2 years, one of the videos that have been doing really well in this channel is a video I did about 2 years back. That was Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And I think maybe a lot of people over the past 2 years have been searching for that book. We have gone through so much in our lives, and I think sometimes if I'm able to sit here and today make a video, that means I've been privileged, unlike a lot of other people who have gone through a lot of difficult times during the last 2 years. And so maybe there are a lot of people trying to find some solace, and in that process, maybe they've searched about man's search for meaning and stumbled upon the video. And that was an awakening for me, thinking that, there is a video that you did about 3 years back, 2-3 years back, and then all of a sudden something happens in the world and that video comes up again. Because the book that I referred to over there, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, was something a lot of people were trying to read. And that made me thinking that maybe if you make a video about books, those videos have a relevance years later. You can talk about a lot of things that's very current, what is happening in the world right now. But if you talk about books, there is a possibility that videos would add value to people even down the line, years later. So I said, okay, right, since I'm doing a lot of reading, I'll probably introduce these books in this channel. I've done poetry over here. I'll try to do poetry. I like reading poetry, and I'll probably do that as well. So this is a personal channel. If you want to read, you can follow my blog, vinodnarayan.com. And if you want to listen to podcasts, there is a podcast called Pen Positive Outclass, which is a daily journal of an active learner, where I talk every day about 4 to 10 minutes on mostly professional and personal. It's more like a journal which includes personal and professional ideas and narratives and thoughts and confusions and doubts, questions, not answers, but questions that I ask myself. So anyway, with that, let me introduce the book that I have today, which is Josy Joseph's The Silent Coup, A History of India's Deep State. So Josy Joseph's first book was The Feast of Vultures. If you have read it, I've not read that book. This is the first book I'm reading of Josy. This came out, I think, in early 2001. Early 2021. And I said, let's do one thing. Let me introduce this book to the people. And I posted this on social media. And a lot of people thought, when you talk about history of India's deep state, there are people who asked, is it about the current government? Is it about BJP? And to those people, what I've said is that it is not a anti-BJP or anti-Congress or anti-government or anti-anything. It's a very pro-democracy. It's a pro-human. It's a pro-freedom book. Across the world, if you look at it, there are many instances, not just about India, there are many instances across the world where there are groups of people who are feeling alienated. There are security apparatuses that is working against individuals. There are citizens who are feeling uncomfortable. There are some citizens very clearly calling out other citizens as unpatriotic. There are people asking other people to go away from their country. And this is not just about India. This is happening across the world. You live in any part of the world, you can identify some minority in that country who is feeling very unwelcomed in that place. And so this is though it is about India's deep state, it is not just about India. It's about what every person should be thinking wherever they are living. And I think that's what makes this book so important read for anyone this year, next year, and the next. And Josy Joseph is one of the best investigative journalists available or now in India. And I think you can also read some of the or watch some of the interviews that Josy Joseph has had with various other YouTubers on YouTube. So please check that. Two of them, actually one is a podcast where he has a conversation with Amit Verma on the seen and the unseen. And the other one is where he has had a conversation with the Banerjee, the Deshbhakt, that's I forgot the first name, but that's another place where you can see an interview or a conversation with Josy Joseph. So Silent Coup, I'm not going to say what this book is about, but it's like a loud cry for someone who thinks democracy is important and who has been witnessing many things that are happening within India, not over the past few years, but probably over the past decade, maybe part of this new century, what has been happening, and how people are probably getting alienated and regrouping, and there is a mistrust that is there. So, how I would like to really, as an example, so if you've seen the movie Sholay, in that there is a scene where Gabbar Singh, the villain, so he says, whenever kids in the village don't sleep, their mother tell them that, sleep or Gabbar Singh is going to come. Gabbar aayega. And so that's how people look at establishments. People look at the security establishment and apparatus that's working in the country, be it the enforcement officials, or be it the police, or any person for that matter who has power over the lives of common people. They're all considered, they're all looked upon like Gabbar. And there's a problem with that, right? How do we build that trust? How do we make sure that there is a trust among people, among citizens, among each of us, and also with the citizens to the political establishments and towards the government establishments? How do we build trust? How do we build transparency? Because the total opaqueness and the lack of trust, it'll never take us forward where we all feel welcomed and equal. I think that's the loud cry that this book is about. And I think you should read it with an open mind. Irrespective of what your political leanings are, I think this is a book that you should be reading. Even if you're not from India, I think there's a lot of things within this book that you can correlate with wherever you're living. So that was the start of, I don't call this book review. I would say this is a book introduction, and sometimes it is a reader's experience. I'll see you all again with some other book. Till then, take care. Be content. Be pen positive. Stay safe. And please, please be kind. Thank you.